what's up? What's up? I guess I figure I just start early, man.
Power on.
The
The Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
Nolan family has spoken. They finally came out today. They got Ben Crump, Reverend Al Sharpton. Shout out to Reverend Al Sharpton. They got them coming out speaking. They got them helping them. So we got a lot to discuss, a lot to react to, about this situation, man. It's getting real strange. I know a lot of things, as I talked about yesterday, a lot of things can go on when it comes to, these kids and when they out doing their thing, string, everything ready to rock and roll. A lot of things can go on when it comes to that, because it looks like, I don't know if they looks like they got a beer in their hand, or I don't know if there's an energy drink or what, but it's a lot of things that go on, and that's why it's very important, parents, you gotta know who your kids are hanging out with. You gotta know they parents, you just can't, you gotta raise your kids like that though, because a lot of times if you ain't raising them like that, as far as, all right, you gonna hang out, the people that you hang out with, we gotta know their parents. We gotta know what's going on in and out. You gotta raise your kids like that so that they won't get, not saying it can't happen if you know the parents or not, but you have a better chance of something like this not happening, rather than just letting your kids hang out with any and everybody, particularly school, people you meet at school or on the football team, just letting them hang out just because they go to school together or something like that. You got to pay attention. You got to know, who your kids are hanging around. You got to know the parents of those kids, that they are hanging around from knee high to a grasshopper. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have your kids with that type of element, in their mind and in their body. You know what I'm saying? This is a crazy incident. You know what I'm saying? It's weird, because we're finding out more things. And now we're going to listen to what the family got to say in a minute. The family of Nolan Wells, right? We're going to hear they came out today and they spoke, and we're going to react to that. Appreciate y'all for coming. Hit the like button as you come in. Drop a comment. Let me know if you are familiar with this case as we find out about it. But the thing is, chat, we got to talk about it, this type of case more. This case has to get on the radar, no matter what you think about it. You know what I'm saying? Either way, it must be discussed, because there's no way, that it's not a thorough investigation when it comes to something like that. Me personally, chat, like I said last night, I didn't even know that Mississippi had an island, I think they said the island is about 10 miles out from the coast of Mississippi. I didn't even know Mississippi had a little island out there, where the kids go. You know what I'm saying? They go hang out and chill and do their own thing. It's a lot of people out there. As you can see in the background of that picture back there, it's a lot of people out there. You know what I'm saying? And, and they out there doing their thing. It's just unfortunate that this kid came up like that, and it's questions and we need answers. Like, as we finding out today, according to Nolan Wells' parents, it was difficult for them to get, for one, his cell phone. You know what I'm saying? And it was difficult for them. We finding out now that they even had his car keys, according to them. According to, because it's two sides to every story, and then it's the truth. So according to Nolan Wells' family, who we're going to listen to in a few minutes, according to them, guess what? Not only was it difficult for them to get a hold of his phone, but the kid, those youngsters, acted like they didn't even know where the keys was. The dad is going to explain. He went over there to go get, his son, where my son keys at and stuff like that. He said it almost got ugly over there. He said he went over there, it's something to it though. He went over there ready to rock and roll if he had to. But he said he had to come to his senses and understand that, hey, there's proper protocols that we got to go through. I ain't gonna go over here and act all crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because we got to go through the proper protocol because it's something fishy and it's something funny. You know what I'm saying? That's what Nolan Wells family is saying. You know what I'm saying? And they say when they got the phone, you know, I was thinking, let me say that, I was thinking that the kids gave Nolan Wells' parents the phone. But according to Nolan Wells' family, they're saying that they found out where the phone was by the 360 pin. You know, a lot of parents got the app where you know your kid at all times. That's how they found out where the phone was. So they had to go over there. And they say, according to Nolan Wells' family, that them youngsters acting like they, you know what I'm saying, acting real funny. You know what I'm saying? Because if you really friends with somebody and your friends come up missing, right? You're going to do whatever you can to try to help the family. But according to Nolan Wells' family, it's according to them, they're saying that they're doing the direct opposite. That they acting like they don't know nothing. A girl saying that Nolan Wells left with the boys. The boys saying that Nolan Wells stayed with the girl. So it's a lot of different inconsistencies according to the Nolan Wells family in what's really going on. Because at the end of the day, all they want is transparency. All they want is some clarity on what really happened. You know what I'm saying? Because they say that it's strange, right? It's kind of strange on how it went down, you know, on the movements that was made before and after. Now we finding out now that one of those kids' parents is a judge. It's a lot, you know, it's starting to come together. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate y'all for joining me. Please drop a comment. Let me know what you think about this. Drop a comment, drop a comment, hit that like button for the algorithm so YouTube and Kick and Twitch and Rumble, everybody will know where we at and where we hanging and what we're talking about. Because guess what? Share the video, whatever platform you're on. Shout out to Twitch. Shout out to Kick. Shout out to Rumble. Shout out to YouTube. Whatever platform you on, wherever you watching us from, make sure you get the word out because we have to find out what really the truth on what happened to this kid. We gotta make so much noise that they don't have no choice but to bring out a full investigation. You know what I'm saying? We have to push it out there because guess what? It happened on the 4th of July. Today is July the 10th. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of inconsistencies. Not saying one way or the other, but it's a lot of inconsistencies. And we just need to know why. Because why, Stock Sniper? Because if it was my son or my daughter, I would want to know. You know what I'm saying? Either way, I would want to know. As a parent, grandparent, whatever, you want to know. So let's watch this little clip, and then we're gonna watch Nolan Wells' parents, right, come out and tell us their side of the story of what they know so far. So I appreciate y'all for joining me, chat. This is the Freedom of Speech channel. This is also the Kirk Conservative OG channel. I am your host, the one and only Stock Sniper. Wherever you watching us from, Twitch, Kick, Rumble, YouTube. Hope y'all having a great day. Let's go.
The island. Wells's mother reported him missing that very night, but tragically, a few days later, his body was found.
Hey, what's up, damn media?
There are a lot of
I
questions
heard about this in the UK.
His family
Yeah, we got to get the word out there.
Nolan's parents, Christine and Elmore Wansley, and their attorney, Ben Crump, are joining us now in studio to talk more about this. Thank you both and Attorney Crump for being here under these especially difficult circumstances that no parent ever wants to live through. Christine and Elmore, can you help us understand what your understanding is of the timeline and what questions you both still have about what actually happened to Nolan?
So he basically, the night before, all the boys got together, stayed the night. 4th of July, they launched the boat. They went to the island, and that was that. I was expecting hey, we're back. like he normally does. Didn't happen. Get a phone call around 11, 4th of July. Hey, have you talked to Nolan? And I'm like, no, where is he at? So then my friend Tashima was so helpful in tracking his phone down because everyone was looking at the Snapchat location because all the kids follow each other. But I was looking at Life 360 and I'm like, well, I don't understand because I'm literally looking at his phone like it's at someone's house. So thankfully my friend did go grab the phone for us as we were kind of doing the other part of it, which was notifying, the local authorities, trying to figure out who we needed to speak to do the missing persons report, because I know that needs to be done as soon as possible, especially when we're talking about water. We wanted to make sure that we could try to find him, and that was the goal.
Who called you first initially, and how well do you know the people that Nolan was hanging out with that day? How familiar are you with them and their families?
So their families, we have not met. So Warren was the one who made the phone call, and he did contact the Coast Guard as well, which I know there's some discrepancies now with that. But he did contact them, and I was going back and forth with the Sheriff's Department and the City of Ocean Springs. Who do we talk to? So then it turned into I had to contact DMR. And DMR took the information, but then reverted me back to Ocean Springs Police Department. So it's kind of like, where do we go from here? So Jackson County basically was like, hey, we're gonna take it over. We'll go ahead and do the report.
Well, the mother of one of the boys who was with Nolan apparently posted on social media that Nolan made a decision to stay on the island and then return inland later with another group of friends. Were you made aware of that plan beforehand? Is that something that Nolan would have done or would do often?
No.
No, he wouldn't. Nolan was always taught to stay with the group. If you leave with me, you come back with me. So that I don't understand. And with me being a parent, if I was in that situation, I would have told him, you're going to get back on this boat with me because I don't want to have to answer to your parents if something happened to you.
Right. So
you're going to get on the boat. And if you still don't want to get on the boat, someone give me a phone so I can make a phone call to get your parents on the phone so they can tell you to get on the boat. But at no time will I leave someone else's child especially on the island.
So you think he got left behind then?
Yes. I don't believe he decided to stay on the island by himself. It just doesn't, that's not his character.
Attorney Crump, you have a lot of questions about what happened, ranging from the fact that the police very quickly declared that they didn't see any evidence of foul play, but then said that they were now investigating, to the timeline, the idea of where the phone could potentially be. Help me understand.
Vlad, there are so many glaring contradictions, and that's why so many people all across America are chiming in saying this is not adding up. I mean, you have them saying he was talking to a young lady, and she said that he said, I'm going to get back on the boat with the boys. Well, the boys say he said that, no, I'm going to stay with her. I mean, which is it? And then on top of that, you talk about this video that's out there that shows this apparent argument going on where Nolan says, where's my freaking phone? What are you freaking doing? And then his phone turns up missing. I don't know any 18-year-old, if you go with their story that he said he was going to stay behind, I'm going to leave my cell phone behind. It's not adding up. And so those are the things that his mother and father are saying, we're not accepting this. He was a college athlete. He was in superb shape. And so he's a good swimmer. And you see the video of all those people out there. If he's drowning, nobody's going to help.
But the video that you're talking, sorry, Natalie, the video that you're talking, go ahead.
I was going to say, you reposted that video. Now, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, they are calling for people to send in any videos or anything that they may have seen. What are they communicating with you about the investigation and what they are getting from people?
They haven't communicated much at this point. In fact, his mother, as she said, they had to track down the cell phone, and she can talk about the deleted messages that are very concerning to her because it's relevant. All of it is relevant to finding out how Nolan Wells ended up dead.
Let me ask you really quickly on that video that you posted. Are you sure that that is Nolan's voice that we can hear on the video?
Well, and there are kids. Kids are talking, and kids are always talking that there was an argument. So we have independent investigators doing it, and we get an independent autopsy. Colin Kaepernick paid for his body to be flown up to Washington, D.C. from Mississippi because his parents have some distrust when you think about the history of Mississippi.
Oh, yes. And Christine, going back to that cell phone, you said you were able to recover it.
Yes.
So you saw clear signs that there were deleted conversations?
There were definitely concerns just because Nolan is always on Snapchat. He will be like, hey, mom, smile, you know, put a peace sign. Mm-hmm. So when me and my sister went through it, there was nothing.
There were
no saved videos. There was nothing in there. She went to the secondary account. There was nothing in there. And I know, you know, when kids get together for events like that, you know, they're snapping. They're making videos, taking pictures. And so I'm just like, where is it? Because it hadn't even been 24 hours when we started looking, which usually with Snapchat, it goes away once you hit that 24-hour mark.
Elmore, can you, for all of us who are so concerned about what happened here, just tell us a little bit more about your son. Who was he? What kind of man was he growing up to be?
He was very respected by the community. He was very respected by a lot of people. There wasn't a friend that he couldn't make. People gravitated to Nolan. That was just the type of person he was. He was I would say a silent leader when on the field and on the basketball court. People would follow his actions and not his words. I'm a person, I believe action is more important than words. You can tell me 1,000 times you love me, but show me you love me. Mm-hmm. If you are my real friends and I'm giving you this trust, you need to get it back to me by making me. Yeah. Making me get on that boat. It's 3 of them, and one of me. Yeah, we may tussle, but when we get back to the mainland, either we're gonna tussle some more, or we're gonna go party. So, and same with the adult. If that was your child, and I was the one there, you would have wanted me to make your child get back on the boat. So, it was a lot of bad decisions made. I don't think my son volunteered to stay on that island. I can't believe that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you both for being here. We're so sorry about this, and we hope that there is some news that comes out of this investigation.
Yeah, that's kind of strange. It sounds like to me, Chad, that the way he's just saying it, like it was a parent on that boat. We're gonna go over here. We're gonna watch because they also did a press conference with Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're gonna go check that out. We're gonna go over there right now. But the thing is, Chad, as we're finding out, according to the parents, they had a hard time getting his phone. Like, it's starting to get real strange. They had a hard time getting that young man's phone from them people. You know, she didn't even know where he was until she hit that 360, that Life 360, and found out that his phone was at somebody's house. Obviously, Nolan's parents didn't know these people. You know what I'm saying? It's obvious they didn't even know each other. You know what I'm saying? That's why I got to say this over and over again. You have parents. You have to know who your kids are rolling with. You know what I'm saying? And you have to teach them these things at a very, very young age. You got to teach them, well, hey, you're not just, I have to know who your friends' parents are. You just not finna be ripping and running with any and everybody. Everybody ain't your friend. Just because y'all go to school together, just because whatever, y'all play basketball together, y'all play football together, that doesn't mean that that's your friend. And that's what we have to teach our kids. And kids, if your parents are talking to you like that, you have to listen to what your parents say. You know what I'm saying? If your parents are saying, well, hey, I don't know, if you want to go to the movies with somebody, you want to go to the Friday night football game, you know what I'm saying? And you going with some people, some kids, or whoever, whatever the case may be, and your parents tell you, now you can't go. Why can't I go, mom or dad? It's because we don't know who those people are. We don't know their parents, and we don't know them. You staying at home. You know, so kids, if your parents tell you something like that, sometimes parents know. You know what I'm saying? So stay at home, even though you might not like it. If your parents tell you to stay at home, you got to stay at home. And parents these days, you have to do a better job of knowing who your friends kicking it with. You have to do a better job of knowing not only who your kids are kicking it with, but you have to know those parents. You got to have their numbers on speed dial. You know what I'm saying? You know who they are. You have to go to their house and know these and get a feel of who the mom and the dad is. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that it would eliminate some things, but it can eliminate, you know, a lot of things. You got to know who your kids are rocking with. Okay, chat, let's go. We're going to go right here. Appreciate y'all for joining me. I am your host, the one and only Stock Sniper. Everybody that's coming in and rocking with me, really, really, really appreciate y'all for coming through. Guess what? Now we're finna watch what happened a little bit later than that. Shout out to Reverend Al Sharpton. Shout out to him for giving these people a platform so they can come on here, because we got to find out what happened to this young kid. We have to find out, you know what I'm saying, what really went on. So let's go. If you just not joining, do me a favor, hit the like button. Not only hit the like button, but share the video. You know what I'm saying? This is something we need to be talking about today. You know what I'm saying? Some of these stations, some of these news outlets, they are paying attention to what's the Charlie Kirk case. Not saying that that's something we should be paying attention to, but we have to find out what happened to this kid. So even though they're talking about Charlie Kirk and Charlie Kirk's murderer is on trial and all that, we have to put this on the front run. You know, so we have to find out what happened to this young boy, so this family can know what happened. Because guess what, chat? That could be, we got 15 people in this chat. That could be any one of our kids. That could be any one of our brothers. That could be any one of our nephews. That could be any one of our cousins. That could be any one of our friends' sons. That could be any one of, it could, you know what I'm saying? It could be somebody that we know. You know what I'm saying, in real life. So we can't overlook this. We have to analyze this. We have to educate the people. You know what I'm saying? We got to use it as a case study. You know what I'm saying? And we have to help this family whichever way we can find out what happened to their son. No matter what it is, you know what I'm saying? We can't speculate one or the other. We have to get down to the meat and potatoes. But it's some funny things though, right? We got to admit, it's some funny things. You know what I'm saying? The kids, those other kids, it seemed like they're not even working with them. You know what I'm saying? She had to go through all kind of stuff to not only get his cell phone, but also get the keys to his car. You know what I'm saying? And kids are saying different things. You know, so we have to let the word be known. The more we push it out, the more we talk about it, guess what's going to happen? The more these law enforcement agencies are going to really have to do their job and find out what really happened. Because in my opinion, they were going to sweep this up under the rug. You know, that's my opinion. You know, they were going to sweep this up under the rug and just say it was a drowning. You know, now I don't think it was an accidental drowning. That's my opinion. That's one thing I don't think. I don't think it was an accidental drowning, because it's a lot of people out there. It's a lot of college kids. It's 4th of July. You know what I'm saying? That's just like Kappa. That's just like Freaknik. You know, you going to a beach party. It's a lot of people out there. Somebody knows something. That's just all we saying. Somebody knows something. So let's go, chat. Shout out to Reverend Al Sharpton. I know if you've been on this channel before, you know what I'm saying? I've disagreed with a lot of Reverend Al Sharpton's stance, but I've also always said I got a lot of respect for Al Sharpton. I love Al Sharpton real deeply, you know what I'm saying, because he does the work, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to Reverend Al Sharpton, and let's go, chat. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel and drop a comment. Let's go.
In my judgment, seemed to mishandle where it was going. Because to just immediately, before a week time, saying there was nothing done wrong, when we hear that this young man was engaged in some kind of argument that was on tape, that his cell phone and keys ended up with one of the people that were there on the island and got away. He was one black with 3 young white men who happened to end up with his phone, happened to end up with his keys. Then there's just too many questions that they should not be closing the investigation. Now, I'm from Brooklyn, so I'm a little different than some of y'all. I was built different. My nose is out here, my eyes are here, my brain is here, which means some things I could smell before I could see and before I can figure out. This does not smell right. So some people are saying, Reverend, are y'all bringing in race? Well, we're not bringing in race, but we're not discounting race either, because we don't know what it is. So to tell us don't rush to judgment saying it was racist is fine. But then I'm telling you, don't rush to judgment saying it was not racism, because we do not know. We do know what these parents are being told and what the parents have now shared with us does not make sense. How do you end up a young, promising football player, not in trouble, mother and daddy at home, everything we tell them to do and be, they go on the 4th of July, on the anniversary of this country, going to an island, we're outing with his friends, and the friends come back, and he's left there with some story about, he said leave them behind. But then by some magic, one of the friends has his keys and his phone. Mind you, his mother tracked down the phone. They didn't voluntarily tell her they had his phone.
Dang.
They didn't voluntarily say they had the keys. So if they had not been tracked down, we don't know if they ever would have known where it was. Some of this doesn't make sense. So we are absolutely in National Action Network and other groups going to rally behind this family. I have told them that whatever we can and need to do, we will do it, because this smacks of some of the worst fears that we've had historically, not only in Mississippi, but in this country. And we are there until the end with them. I've been asked by the family to be in Mississippi for the funeral to officiate, which I'm going to do. We just got off the phone with Tyler Perry, the actor who says he wants to help cover whatever expenses for the funeral. We have with us Spike Lee is in the house. Many of our people that have always supported families are there. This is not about them trying to raise money. We're going to take care of that. This is about, though, they got to keep going forward. But we want justice, and let the chips fall where they may. If it ends up being one way that we suspect was wrong, fine. But if it's another way, don't back up and play games with this. They are not activists or lawyers. So they only want justice for their son. I'm an activist. When we get there and they say we heating things up, that's what we do. Because sometimes you got to make people sweat to get the poison out their system. I'm the sweat man. And they are the parents that want to see justice for their son. Let me let you hear from Christine and Elmer Wansley and then Attorney Crump. Let them. Okay, Attorney Crump, and then we'll hear from you.
That's right. Thank you, Reverend Al, for always answering the bell as you have done on so many occasions when families get the worst news of their life. And make no mistake about it, Christine and Elmo got the worst news of their life on what was supposed to be a joyous occasion where everybody was celebrating the 4th of July weekend. I'm Attorney Ben Crump, along with Attorney Lisa Park and Jared Presson and Camila Moore. We have the honor and the privilege of helping to lead an independent investigation on behalf of the family of Nolan Wells. Why do you say we need to be retained to lead an independent investigation? It is because the family has distrust of the Mississippi law enforcement officials giving them a fair investigation where their black son ended up dead after going out on a boat with 3 young white men. The history of Mississippi is something that they don't just read about in books, but it's a lived experience for many black Americans that oftentimes when our children are killed in highly questionable situations, that there is this notion that, oh, it was nothing wrong, no foul play, let's just sweep it under the rug. Well, we refuse to sweep it under the rug. We refuse to just let Nolan Wells' death be in vain. We're going to make sure that we get to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, because Nolan deserves it. You're going to hear his mother and father talk about what a wonderful young man he was. I mean, doing everything right. Reverend Al, he was not only a college student, he was a great athlete. He was a model big brother for his brothers and little brothers and sisters, and he was a great son who was on the cusp of becoming a man. I mean, Christine and Elmore did everything to prepare him for this moment. He was so close. He was right there. You're going to hear his father talk about him had a good football season last year, but this season he was really ready to go to the next level, to go to Division I. I mean, the highlights that you're seeing on social media of his athletic prowess, I mean, it is all relevant, because when you start talking about drowning, I mean, this is a kid who knew how to swim. This is a kid who was in tip-top shape. He was a superior athlete. And so I'm going to get to that in a moment, these glaring contradictions, but to try to say, oh, we're suggesting it was just an accident of drowning, go ahead and move on. Well, they are not accepting it. They are not accepting it. They want to know that you have not taken the path of least resistance, that you have done a full, complete, thorough, impartial investigation, because it cannot be lost on anybody, but especially us in the black community. If the roles were reversed and you had 3 young black men on a boat with a young white man, and that young white man ended up dead, what kind of investigation would be being conducted by the Mississippi law enforcement officials? How many times would those 3 young black men be interrogated?
They'd be in jail.
So all we're asking is the same consideration you would have given if the roles were reversed. Give that consideration to this family as well. That is our fight. The glaring contradictions are just.
If the roles were reversed, Chad, they would be in jail. If it was 3 black kids and the white kid ended up missing and they found him, them black kids would be in jail right now.
And so,
that's a fact.
Jared, you have where a young woman he was talking to says that, well, Nolan said he was going back to get on the boat with the boys. The boys say that Nolan told them he was going to stay and talk to the young woman. It's a contradiction. They're not saying the same thing. One of them is telling the truth, one of them is not. We have to get to the bottom of that. It's important. And then the fact, Reverend Al, that they have this video of an argument that is going on. And you know, thank God, all young people, they have cell phones, and anytime you hear people raising their voice, they start the video. And so you hear on the video, Nolan saying, "Give me my freaking phone. What are you freaking doing?" And that becomes even more relevant when you think about the story that they are presenting, that Nolan chose to stay behind. That's what they're saying. But his phone, he wouldn't take that with him if he's going to stay behind on an island. I mean, we're talking about an 18-year-old kid. What teenager would leave their phone behind if they're going to stay on this island? What teenager wouldn't take their phone? And so it's not adding up. It's not adding up at all. The fact, as Reverend Al said, you know, they didn't take his phone with them. His mother, when she finds out that her baby is missing, they start trying to track the phone. The GPS the phone, they've used Life 360, and they discover that, well, the phone is on land. The phone is on land, but you're saying he went missing on the island. And so it's not adding up. And so they go get the phone. And you hear her tell herself, when her and her sister start going through his phone, Jared, they realize that there are deleted messages, so they're trying to figure out, well, why are there deleted messages on his phone? I mean, it becomes relevant when you start putting everything together, where we can't just say, oh, there's no instance of foul play. We're going to get to the truth one way or the other. The fact that, and this really makes no sense to me, Reverend Al, this notion that, well, he drowned, y'all have, I'm sure, seen all the videos out there. I mean, if he's drowning, nobody sees him drown, nobody offers assistance, nobody tries to help him. I mean, obviously, he stands out. I think, the only black person I saw when I'm looking at the videos. And if you see him drowning, you mean nobody is going to try to help him? It's not adding up. It is not adding up. And that's why the family, at their behest, we had an independent autopsy being performed. And we thank Colin Kaepernick for helping to pay for that independent autopsy. And we thank Tyler Perry for helping to pay for the funeral, because as Reverend Al said, these were just regular parents going about their life. They weren't expecting any of this. And then we're having to try to hire these experts to be able to go and see if they can retrieve deleted messages. We have to have experts. You'll hear from Attorney Park talk about, you know, where the body was found when it was recovered and how long it took to be recovered. We think all of those are relevant issues to trying to understand what really happened to Nolan Wells. And this independent autopsy is so very important because we had his body flown from Mississippi to Washington, D.C. because his family wanted to make sure that they had a doctor who had no ties to Mississippi law enforcement to do an independent examination of their son's body. And we are hopeful to get that results in the very near future. We were hoping we would have had it today. However, as you all know, here in New York, they canceled all the flights yesterday, and so it took a long time for his body to get to the medical examiner's office in Washington, D.C. But rest assured, as soon as we get those results, we will make them known to you because we believe transparency is very important. We want to lead by example. We want them to be transparent, and we want to be transparent. We know they conducted the autopsy. We are waiting on their results as well. The final thing I will say is this. If there are any people who are on that island, any young people who recorded videos, who witnessed things, who may have saw Nolan at any time on the island, please, please, please let us know. Please call bencrump.com, call the 800 number, just any information. They are desperate. We're in a ferocious pursuit for the truth. And y'all, if it was your child, wouldn't you want everybody who knew something to let you all know? This is a horrible way because it's so tragic on so many levels. Brett, before we bring the parents up, why don't we have Attorney Lisa Park, who is helping to head up the investigation with our office.
My name is Lisa Park. I'm the senior attorney for the Ben Crump Law Office in Atlanta. It is our honor to work with the family to try to find answers in this case. I think that most of you at this point are aware of Ben Crump Law and many of the cases that we represent in this country. Some of these cases you don't know anything about until we get involved and we shed some light and we explain to the media what has happened, and you all let America know what has happened. Mm-hmm. Sometimes cases come and you all already know about it. This is one of those cases. I saw this in the news before I got a call from Ben. This was already huge in social media, already out in general media. Why? Why? Because it doesn't take an attorney. It doesn't take a special investigator. It doesn't take someone with extreme training to know right off there's something wrong here. This is, as Ben has put it, not adding up. It is so obvious. There are so many people in this country that go missing, right? Everybody knows this. But this case has captured everybody's attention. Think about why. You know that something is not right. It doesn't take us. It doesn't take the Reverend Al Sharpton, Ben Crump, to tell you and then think, oh, now I know something's wrong. We know something is wrong. And for every single person that was in Horn Island, and we know there's about 200 people, there's a lot of people. We know that Horn Island is a popular place during the holidays. It's a popular place on the weekends. You have to get there by boat. It's the only way to get there. You have to leave by boat. It's the only way to leave. So many people out there. If you are watching this, if you see this, and you are struggling about what to say or what to do, you know what the right thing to do is. Call Ben Crump Law. There's this thing called the internet. It's very easy to find that number. Call us. We have an entire call center. They're waiting to hear from you. If you didn't go to Horn Island, but you've heard something, because people are talking. They're talking with each other. They may not be calling the police. They may not be calling us. But you heard something. We need to know that. We need to know that.
That's why.
In America today,
That's why it's very, very important. We got 30 people in the building. We need to get this. We need to help this family out and get the word out there. We got 38 people in here and only 8 likes. If you hit the like button, more people will be notified about this. We got to help this family get closer to find out what really happened. So if you in here, please do me a favor. I need all 30 people in here. Hit the like button and help this family out. Hit the like button so we can get these videos and get this word out to more and more and more and more and more people.
we want to believe that the last several decades we've made so much progress in our race relations, don't we? We want to believe that. Whether you're black or you're white or you're Asian, that's what we want to believe. We wanted to believe that this past 4th of July when we celebrated 250 years, right? If you want to believe that, you've got to be part of the solution. You've got to be part of that. You have to make it happen. And if you have information, please call us. It is incredibly important. People out there, you have answers. You may not know exactly what your information means, but if you saw something, say something, please.
All right, we're going to hear from the parents, and then we'll have Q&A. And what I want is, when we go to the media, identify yourself and your outlet so we know who is speaking. And let me say again that we're standing with this family till the very end and make sure we're dealing with justice. Let's first hear from the mother, Christine Wansley.
First of all, I want to say thank you, everyone, for being here. This is not how I wanted the world to meet my son, but here we are. So, as you know, I'm Christine Wells Wansley. I am Nolan Wells' mom. And Nolan is the kindest soul. He never met a stranger. He loved everybody. He didn't care if you were black, white, purple, green, looked like a marshmallow. Like, he just wanted everyone to be in peace with one another. He loved life, and God gave him this big heart, which always scared us. Me and his dad had conversations with him all the time, not just about the importance of understanding our history as Black people, but also the importance of how you have to move in certain spaces. And it's not us being, feeding into racism or the stereotypes that comes with that. Unfortunately, that is just a matter of fact. There have been many cases, many instances that shows it's unfortunately a pattern that he did not like. He did not like that there was so much division, and I think that's why God gave him us. He was really a peacemaker. He wanted, like I said, everyone to be included. He never wanted to leave anyone out. He just, even at a young age, I don't know, he was, how old was he? No, not 18. So his father and I were having a moment, and as couples do, and even in that moment, he runs in the room with his diaper on, of course, and he starts dancing because it was like he could feel the tension. He could feel that something wasn't right. So he was just a special kid. Like, he was a special kid, but again, just heart was so big. And we're gonna miss him dearly. But we are grateful, especially to our friend Tashima, who actually was one of the people who helped us that night. She went and picked up his cell phone from where it was, and then provided that to us, because we of course contacted authorities to figure out who to do the report with, whether it was the county or the city, which then turned into DMR, who I contacted immediately from there. And but so our friend actually, when I called her, Nolan is best friends with her two sons, Jalen and Javon. When I called her, I said, Tashima, have you seen Nolan? He's missing. No one has seen him. No one has talked to him. The boys were actually with her sons. So they opened up their Snapchat, because a lot of the kids do have their locations where they're tracking one another. So one of the boys says, well, it's showing that, I can't exactly remember what his location was showing, but my Live 360 location was showing something completely different. It was actually showing that his phone was like he was on land. And so we ended up, she received the phone from that parent, and then we met up where his car was, which was at a separate location. There were issues obtaining the key, but even so, there's just a lot of...
Tell them about what happened with the key.
So I'm going to let my husband tell you about that, because he actually went up to the door to get the key, because at that point, I was just not in my right mind.
So the car was at a separate house from where the phone was, according to the parent.
Terrible.
Elmore Wansley, the father.
Okay, so
according to the parents, the phone and the keys were at two separate locations.
Already there, and they were at the door in the house, asking questions. So when I walked up, they were getting, things were getting kind of intense. So I turned to them and told them, I need you guys to calm down. I don't do this to me right now. I need them to kind of trust me so they can give me something. So I was able to calm them down. So the guy,
they was about to get active over there.
He's in one of the pictures. He came out of the room, half asleep or whatever, I think Jack's or whatever. And I said, look, I'm Nolan's father. I'm here to get his keys so I can get his car. I said, he's like, his car's in New York. His car's parked in New York. So he was like, I don't know, man. Nolan's like my brother. I said, well, if Nolan was like your brother, would you please go in your room and see if you can find my son's keys so I can take his car home? He walks off, 2 or 3 minutes, come back. I can't find the keys. I said, okay, so at that point, I get the boys and I get to move them out the house because I didn't want them to go into the house and start tearing up these people's houses because they'll never be a hold in the situation. So we walk outside by the car.
It was about
One of
to
the
act
guys that was in the
bad.
house with us, he was on the phone with a girl. And
But wait, but the question is though, Chad, how did they know that the keys were they never okay? How did they know that the keys were there? How did they know them kids had the keys? That's a good question. How did Nolan's dad know that the keys were at the house? Let me rewind that. How did he know?
so I can get his car. I said, oh, he's
Hold
like,
on.
when we got to the house, a few of his friends, they were already there. And they were at the door in the house, asking questions. So when I walked up, they were getting, things were getting kind of intense. So I turned to them and told them, I need you guys to calm down. I don't do this to me right now. I need them to kind of trust me so they can give me something. So I was able to calm them down. So the guy, he's in one of the pictures. He came out of the room, half asleep or whatever, I think Jack's or whatever. And I said, look, I'm Nolan's father. I'm here to get his keys so I can get his car. I said, he's like, his car was in New York. His car's parked in New York. So he was like, I don't know, man. Nolan's like my brother. I said, well, if Nolan was like your brother, would you please go in your room and see if you can find my son's keys so I can take his car home?
How did he know that the keys were there? Okay.
Walks off, 2 or 3 minutes, come back. I can't
How did he
find
know
the keys.
the keys were there?
I said, okay, so at that point, I get the boys and I get to move them out the house because I didn't want them to go into the house and start tearing up these people's houses because they'll never be a hold in the situation. So we walk outside by the car. One of the guys that was in the house with us, he was on the phone with a girl, and the girl told him that Nolan's keys were on top of this Jack's guy's Xbox in the house because apparently she was there with him earlier. So he goes back up to the door by himself.
He just answered the question. Another kid told them that they seen the keys in the house. Let me rewind it because that was kind of strange. How did he know that the keys were there? So another kid told them.
Nolan was like your brother. Would you please go in your room and see if you can find my son's
another
keys
kid
so I can take
told
his car home? He walks off, 2 or 3 minutes, come back. I can't find the keys. I said, okay, so at that point, I get the boys and I get to move them out the house because I didn't want them to go into the house and start tearing up these people's houses because they'll never be a hold in the situation.
Them youngsters was about to act
walk
bad.
outside by the car. One of the guys that was in the house with us, he was on the phone with a girl, and the girl told him that Nolan's keys were on top of this Jack's guy's Xbox in the house.
That's how he found out.
She was there with him earlier.
Okay.
So he goes back up to the door by himself, and 5 minutes later, the keys come out. So now I feel like you done lied to me. So now I'm really like in distrust with you. But as far as the night goes, if I knew anyone who had a boat, I would have went out that night looking for my son. We tried, but I don't have friends with boats. But if I knew someone with one, I would have went out that night. And this so happened that his coach saw all the stuff on Facebook that next morning and contacted me like 5 in the morning, asked me if we want to go out. And I told him yes. So within an hour, he was at the dock. We met him, and we went out. We docked the boat, got off the boat, walked on the island, walked a pretty nice stretch, came back, got back on the boat, went around the island, looked, came back around, and where we went to, that's where apparently they say that his body floated up. I don't know a lot about water currents or whatever, but I would think that we would have saw his body. And on the trip there was a family that stayed a night on the island, like actually tented out on the island. So if he was left, he would have saw that family on the island, and it was 2 other boats docked, so he would have had help. So I don't know. I don't know. I think we stayed up there for like an hour and a half. That's when Jackson County and the sheriff department showed up, and they were going to do their rounds. And I had a classmate of mine, him and his 2 boys, they came out and they searched, and then they got back in touch with me and said the Coast Guard had finally showed up in airplanes. So
what is so critical, what Elmore is saying, is they went out on Sunday, and the tide, if it brought his body up, he went missing on July 4th, as they say. His body should have been there on July 5th. Why would it not appear to July 6th? And that's one of those things that's just not adding up. And the fact that if he stayed behind on the island, there were boats there. There were people. Somebody had to see something. That's why it's not adding up. And that's what they're saying. It's just not adding up.
yes.
And if he was there 2 days, somebody on the island would be able to verify that. 2 days, and nobody's come forward and say, no, he was with us, or no, we saw him. It just does not make sense. Make it make sense.
Just one last thing. We want her to talk about the cell phone deleted messages.
You're talking off mic.
I'm sorry. I thought my voice was loud enough. One last thing. We want to have Christine talk about the cell phone from her perspective before they tell you who Nolan was, and then we'll take your questions.
So when we made it home, my sister and I actually went through Nolan's cell phone, particularly Snapchat, because that is so popular with the children. And when we opened it up, there was nothing. There were no saved pictures. There were no snaps from that day. And we did open it before the 24-hour expiration. So we found that very concerning, only because anyone who's ever been around Nolan will tell you at social gatherings, he's taking videos, he's taking pictures, he's even come up to me when I'm getting ready to go to bed, hey Mom, come on, take a picture of me. You know, like he just, that was Nolan. So that's why we feel that things may have been deleted, was because of the fact that there was nothing in either one of his accounts. But I do want to say this. I would hope that any parent who, God forbid, would be in our situation, I would hope that you would do the same thing. I would hope that you would ask for any help, receive any help to get answers, because at the end of the day, that's all we want. We just want to know. We just want to know what happened and why our baby didn't come home. Like that's our biggest thing. And we are so grateful to everyone, family, friends, classmates, United Cajun Navy, everybody that's assisted us. We appreciate you. There's not enough thank yous that we could say or give to you, but I just, we just want to know. We want an honest, thorough investigation. That's all we're asking for.
Do you want to say about who Nolan was? Or
Nolan is a person with a big heart. He's loved by not just his family, but the community. He's a born people person. He really developed a bond with his baby brother, because both of them play the same position. So he was really understanding the business side of the sport, of which is football, and understand that it's not just a game you play. So the stuff that I was telling him, it was kind of starting to sink into him, and he was, really getting more in depth into it. And I could see as he did that, his baby brother really started getting more into it as well, as far as being more focused, because he saw, well, if my big brother is about to go do this great thing, then I want to do this great thing, but I want to do it better. That's why that's what made them so like vinegar and oil. It was like they was always at each other, but they were the same. When I look at my youngest, I'll say Nolan, or when I look at Nolan, I'll say my youngest name. So they would train together. I would always say, hey, you did some push-ups, you the one ran some routes. And they know when I say that, next day they're out there running routes. Even my other son, he'll go out there, he doesn't play their position, but he would go out there and work and exercise and work out, because they were understanding what I was talking about. They were growing, they were becoming men. So this was his time. He would always talk to me, I would always give him my advice. And just like talk about Carly.
But identify who you are, and please be respectful. The family's in mourning, but because they want justice for their son, they came to New York to make this appeal. But let's not make this a circus. Yes.
Christina Marchand from the New York Post. First of all, I just want to say I'm so sorry about the loss of the family. I have a couple of questions.
GoFundMe created for the family
When was,
has raised over
when was the last time
$388,000.
What did he say? Was there a call or a text? What was said during that last interaction?
Man.
And also, how do you know that it's Nolan saying, give me my phone? What are you doing in that video?
Say that last question.
How do you know that it's Nolan saying, give me my phone? What are you doing in that video?
The second one is of the children who are saying it was Nolan. Yeah.
So the last time we spoke and saw Nolan was July the 3rd. He actually cooked dinner for me, actually for us, because I had gotten off work. It's been really busy, and so he cooked dinner. It was salmon. He baked it, so proud. And then after that, he was just like, "Hey, Mom, I'm about to go. I love you." It was hug, kiss, and he left. Which of course, he knew we always looked at the Life 360. So there were times maybe he didn't call us to let us know when he made it, but we would see it. He would text at some point, but that was the last time we saw and spoke with him.
Sir.
Tim Grant from Washington Post. Two questions. First, who is doing the independent autopsy in Washington, D.C.? And the second question is, as part of your independent investigation, have you planned to reach out to the other boys who was with to ask them voluntarily speak to your investigation?
Dr. Roger Mitchell is doing the independent autopsy on behalf of
Supposed to release that today.
Nolan Wells' family. And we understand that the young men have lawyers, so we will have to have their lawyers agree to let them speak to our investigators, and we have not attempted to talk to them as of yet. We have been attempting to talk to many of the students and people who are out there that we are aware of.
Okay. Right here.
Oh, okay. Justin Finch, Inside Edition, asking a question here. First, for the family, wondering if you recall from your friend what was said to her by the people who gave her Nolan's phone, and for Attorney Crump, wondering for you, at some point, will that phone be given to police for their investigation and expressed interest?
Yes.
So the
Why the
exact
police already don't have
wording
a phone?
of the exchange, it was through phone.
That's crazy.
Because again, we were busy trying to figure out who was going to take the missing persons report. Just because when it's in water, when it occurs on the island, it's not necessarily the city or the county, because then it becomes an issue of jurisdiction. So like I said, she went there and spoke with, I cannot remember, I'm so sorry, my brain is everywhere. But she went to the house and retrieved the phone. She said, I have his phone, the phone is okay. As far as like appearance goes, it didn't look damaged or anything. And so then after that, we met with her at the other house where he had stayed the night, July the 3rd, where his car was. Because it was important for us to try to retrieve everything of his that we could. But it, honestly, for both instances, it was a run and round, because I know she had issues getting his phone as well. And she ended up calling me, and I think I spoke with the mother. She put me on speakerphone, and I was like, hey, you know, yes, I'm Christine, I'm Nolan's mom. We need his phone, we're trying to find him.
Yes.
I guess.
Okay, we'll go her and then you.
I guess let me answer the second part of the question. Absolutely, after our experts be able to examine the phone, we will let the Mississippi investigators examine the phone. And it's fortuitous that they have the phone, because normally in these investigations, as you know, Reverend Al, they will have the phone and stuff, and they will keep it for months.
Right.
And
Why they don't have the phone?
Limbo. But thank God we have the phone now. We're going to do it expeditiously and give it to them.
They should have had the phone already.
Well.
There's some weird stuff going on, Chad.
So you said that he stayed the night at a friend's. The first question is, did he stay with the friends that he went on the boat with?
Yes, he did.
And my second question is, has anyone come forward and provided you with other photographs or videos from Horn Island from July 4th that afternoon?
They're starting to send them to our office, and that's what Attorney Parker was being so adamant about. Please continue to send whatever videos you got, whatever pictures you got. And we're very thankful that some young people have done that.
Good afternoon. Darla Miles, ABC 7 New York. First of all, I would like to extend my condolences to you, Mr. and Mrs. Wells. I know this is very brave of you, and we appreciate your transparency. Two questions, also in regards to you, Reverend Al, Mr. Crump. My first question is, this happened in Mississippi, and you've traveled here to meet with Reverend Al Sharpton. Why was this important to you, and how meaningful has this meeting been with you here in New York?
So we did this because, once again, what we're wanting is transparency, right? Although I do absolutely respect law enforcement, just the fact that the accidental drowning thing, it made both me and his father uncomfortable. Why are we so quick to rush to this? And we just, at the end of the day, we want answers. This has been very impactful. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the day they found him, we were at Port Mars, which is one of the boat launches. And
why did she pop her lips like that?
I was standing beside the water, and I had said a prayer, and I was like, Lord, this isn't what we wanted.
She went.
But I just asked him to help us get through this, put the right people in our path that could potentially help us, because at that point we hadn't reached out to anybody. We didn't know where to start. This is foreign. We've never been through this. No parent should go through this. And then that's when my cousin, Keezy, she sent me a message with some information. My friend, Bianca, her sister, knows a contact with Attorney Ben. And so I said, okay, this has to be it. This has to be God helping us along the way. And I am not religious, but I am spiritual. And for that, I was grateful, because I felt like things were being set up. And at this point, I have always said, we are taking any help
any help. We don't care black, white, purple, like, again, we just want to know what happened. That's all we want to know. We just want to know what happened.
And my quick follow-up to that, were you able to get a clear explanation as to the chain of custody of this phone, like how that parent came in possession of this phone? And then explain the resistance. You said you went to the home to get the keys. I don't understand, like, what kind of resistance? What was that exchange of words like? The resistance that you received when you went to go retrieve his keys. Thank you.
He just acted like he didn't know where they were. He just he was like he was clueless. He was like, I don't know. I don't well, just please. I was like, just please go in the room and look for me. Cause, be honest with you, at that time I was very emotional. No one was giving me any answer. So that situation with me and them could have went totally left field. But since those other young kids were in there, at that moment, they kept me from doing what I wanted to do. So getting them and calming them down, it helped me focus on what I was really there for, to find the keys. And like I said, when I asked him, he said he went and looked. And so when he said he couldn't find them, I did what I needed. I left out of their home. And like I said, 5 minutes later, he come back out with the keys. And they didn't come back outside anymore until the police came. Because at that time, police were called because we were looking for his wallet. And then they went to the door. But other than that, when they sent the keys out, they locked everything. They didn't want nothing to do with what was outside that door. So that's that right there. When you lied to me, it killed all trust in anything we had to say.
All right, we'll take the last four. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go ahead.
Maria Campanodi with CNN. 2 questions for Attorney Crump, just to get some clarification on the timeline of the events. When was Nolan last seen and by whom? And the second question is, who first reported Nolan missing and when?
Well, and I asked his mother to also assist on the second question. But as there's conflicts, you know, the young woman said that he went and got back on the boat with the boys. The boys say no. He said he was going to stay with her. And that's a conflict. And the troubling thing is if they're saying, well, he made the decision to stay behind, would an 18-year-old college student say, go ahead without me, I don't want my cell phone or anything? It just doesn't add up. And so that, around that 3 o'clock time, seems to be the last time that we have those statements. However, as Christine said, they're suggesting that they didn't leave till 4:30 though. So, you know, if you said you were leaving at 3, why you left at 4:30? And where was Nolan for that hour?
Israel.
I think she was asking about the cell phone.
When was he last seen?
Oh, I answered last scene. I thought you said something else.
When was he first?
Oh, missing. Okay.
So his friend contacted me. It was around 11:07, and then I called my friend to ask her had she seen him, because that would be the only other place I would think he would go if he were back on land. And so then when she told me no, she's like, "Don't worry, I'm going to look for him." And that's when we got on the phone. First, I called. It was either the county or Ocean Springs. It was either one of them. But whichever I called first, I was directed to call DMR because so DMR, if I'm not mistaken, they handle cases with the island or the water in that area. So the young lady took the information down. She's like, "I'm going to give you a call back." I said, "Okay." So when she called me back, she explained to me, she was like, "I've spoken with the Coast Guard," which his friend had contacted the Coast Guard, Warren had contacted the Coast Guard to report Nolan missing as well. So I'm on the phone with the DMR, he's calling Coast Guard. And she said, I spoke with Coast Guard, and you're gonna have to complete the report with, I think it was Ocean Springs. So we go down to the Ocean Springs Police Department. We're told because it's a jurisdiction issue that they can't file the missing police report. Jackson County the Sheriff's Department ends up calling me back, I think if I remember this correctly, and she was calling to check to see were they able to do it. I told her no, they couldn't do it. The young lady on the phone and the officer at Ocean Springs Police Department spoke and explained to her why Ocean Springs Police Department could not complete the missing persons report. She said, okay, he gives the phone back. She's like, look, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it so there's no more back and forth. So my husband and I, we met an officer in the McDonald's parking lot. I think at this point it's maybe around 12. Don't quote me on that. But we explained to him, what he looked like, age, all those things. Last time he was reported seen, which again, by his friend, he said that the last time he physically saw him was at 3 p.m. and they were getting ready to leave the island.
Israel Rodriguez with the U.S. Sun. Have you been able to gather additional information made by Warren's mother, Ashley Cole, on social media, where she said the group left the island after they experienced trouble with the boat and that the boat began taking in water?
Your question is what directly? We know she made that statement.
Have you been able to gather additional information on that?
No, we have not.
Kevin Ortega Rojas with Here's Why News. I was hoping that the family could clarify Nolan's relationship with the young men that he traveled to the island with. We've heard different accounts of how long he's known them, and I was wondering also if you folks have spoken to those families since they lawyered up.
High school friends.
Say the second part again.
In other words, he really didn't know this kid.
Thank you so much, Rev.
They really didn't know them people.
I stand here as a cousin, a first cousin of a victim. In 2020, he went out with his friend and the mother, who was white, and
they really didn't know them people, Chad.
He was found dead, deceased, in a field behind her house. She was arrested. She was charged with failing to report a missing child and contributing to the delinquent of a juvenile. So your story is very familiar. Your pain, I feel it. And I will continue to advocate. I'm an activist and I go all across the world. But today I'm here because I stand with you. As a cousin of a victim, I know what you feel when you don't get justice and the system is up against you.
God bless you. Thank you. We will follow up and when we're ready to formal announcements. Again, the funeral service is not.
Yeah, Chad. This family, it seems like this family has been getting the runaround since the beginning. From the beginning, it seems like, according to them, they've been getting the runaround since the beginning, and that's crazy. But shout out to Al Sharpton, because if it wasn't for Al Sharpton and the gang, Benjamin Crump, I think they would have really, really, really had a hard time, because Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton, they have the tools and the resources to put all this here together so they can get things in motion to find out what really happened to this kid. If it wasn't for Al Sharpton, I'm not the biggest Al Sharpton fan, y'all know this, but Al Sharpton and Benjamin Crump, if they wouldn't have found out, if they would have got involved, man, this would have got swept up under the rug, in my opinion. It would have got swept up under the rug. They have not, this family been getting a runaround since the first day. They don't want to give them the keys. They don't want to give them the phone. And then the police officers and the agencies don't want to help them with the proper agency to file the reports with. They're saying we can't file the report here. You got to file the report over there. Then you got to go over there, find out what agency really handles the reports that come from that island. You know, I never knew. I didn't know that Mississippi had an island out there. You know, if I had a little bit of time, we would look up and see what's actually on that island. Which is crazy, crazy, crazy. You know, I know a lot of y'all, you know, I'm not really a fan of Al Sharpton too, but then at the same time, Al Sharpton do some things properly. Like, you know, this family would have been lost without Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton. I got to give them credit when the credit is due. You know what I'm saying? I have to. You know, I don't agree with a lot of things. Anybody that's been on this channel, you know, they know, you know, I've said things about Al Sharpton, but one thing is that when it comes down to the stuff that he do like this, he really, really, really do a good job. You know, this family would not have had the resources or none of that. You got Tyler Perry coming out. You got Callan Kaepernick coming out. You know, you getting things that, you know, Al Sharpton and Benjamin Crump and his team are getting things in motion. Now we're going to find out what happened to the kid. You know, we need to get attention to find out what really happened to the kid because, Chad, they were going to sweep this up under the rug. They were going to sweep this up under the rug. Al Sharpton is a con artist and a grifter. Well, whatever, this is not what this is about, David Runner. You know, this is not what this is about. This is about the family and this kid and the mom and the dad getting the information that they need. And Al Sharpton and Benjamin Crump are doing that because, like the family said, they didn't know, they wasn't finna find anything out. You know, they're grieving and all this stuff that's going on. You know, and they don't know, they've never been in this position before at the same time that they grieving. And Reverend Al Sharpton and Benjamin Crump has helped them out a whole lot. And more things are going to come out on what happened to this kid. You know, so I'm going to end it right here, chat. Appreciate y'all for rocking with me. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. We're going to keep on covering this. Hit the like button. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate everybody for coming in with your comments. This is the Freedom of Speech channel. And I'm your host, the one on the Stock Sniper. By you commenting, by you liking, it's going to get the awareness out and more people are going to find out. And that's going to make the agencies and all these different law enforcement agencies put the work in so we can get answers. No matter what the answer is, we got to get the answers. I said last night, you know, what I thought about the situation. But as long as we talking about it, no matter if you believe, whatever way you believe, it's the Freedom of Speech channel. Whatever you think happened. The thing is that we're talking about it. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about it. And that's what matters because this family deserves to find out. Whatever they trying to find out, this family needs to find out what happened because there's a lot of strange things about the case. You know what I'm saying? Why is the other family, why are those kids acting like they don't want to have nothing to do with it? That's why parents and kids, it's very important that you know who your kids go and hang out with. And youngsters, 18, 20, 21, whatever. Everybody ain't your friend. You know, yeah, you might want to go out there wherever they going, but just don't go hang out with anybody. Know who you rocking with. You know what I'm saying? Know who you rocking with. And kids, your parents gotta know. I don't care if you're 18 or 21. You know, a lot of kids, they turn 18, you know what I'm saying, and they think they grown and all these type of things. Oh, I'm 18, I'm grown. Yeah, you might be legally grown, but mentally, you're still a kid. And you got to listen to your parents, you know? And parents, you have to know who your kids are kicking it with. You not only got to know the kid, but you got to know their parents. You got to know them. You got to be able to go over there and knock on the door. Drink some tea with them. You know, you got to have a relationship with your kids, friends, parents. You have to, you know, because we're finding out now that these parents didn't even know these other people, didn't know them at all. So in other words, they really wasn't friends. They really wasn't. So that's what we got to think about, chat. We have to learn from this. There's a lot of things that we can take and apply to our own lives. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, something unfortunate as this, you know, it won't happen, you know, to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, chat, I love it. I appreciate y'all for coming and rocking with me. I got to go. Tomorrow night, Conor McGregor returns. I will be going live. If you're into the UFC, if you into MMA, hit that subscribe button to come rock with me tomorrow night. We're going to be reacting to Conor McGregor's big return against Max Holloway. So with that being said, I love and I appreciate y'all, chat. Everybody that came over and hung out with me, you could be anywhere else, but you came rock with me. And I love and I appreciate y'all. With that being said, chat, this is the Freedom of Speech channel. Wherever you watching me from, Kick, Twitch, Rumble, wherever, YouTube, wherever you watching me from, I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Talk to your kids. Tell your kids the importance. Everybody ain't your friends. Everybody ain't your partners. In the words of the great Mo 3. I love and I appreciate y'all, chat. I am your host, the one and only Stock Sniper. This is the Freedom of Speech channel. Earn, spend less, and make proper investments. And yes, knowing who your friends are is an investment. You sit your kids down and you teach your kids these different lessons, life lessons. You teach it to your kids. You teach it to your grandkids. Then guess what else you do, chat? You come on this internet and you teach it to the world and you spread the word. We got to help this family get the answers no matter what they are. We have to help this family out. So with that being said, it's the one and only Stock Sniper. Earn, spend less, and make proper investments. To the next one, I'm out.